Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Tomb Raider reboot. This is a reboot of Tomb Raider, like I just said. This is based off the popular video game series of the same name. Instead of Angelina Jolie in this role, we have Alicia Vikander in this role. She's known for the movies The Danish Girl, Ex Machina. She was recently, not recently, but had a supporting role in the movie Jason Bourne. So she's been in a couple of things. She's married to Michael Fassbender in real life, so that's going to probably give her a lot of public attention here in the next couple of years. But overall, this is like I said, a Tomb Raider film, a reboot of the franchise, taken in a different direction. Um, Roar Uthaig, I think this director's name is. I think he worked on a film called The Wave, not in America, in a different country. And I think he's well known for directing that movie, and that's how he kind of got this directing job for this new Tomb Raider movie. But in this new Tomb Raider film, you guys, as far as what it's about, what direction they take, Lara Croft's father is missing. Nobody really knows where he is. Some have presumed that he's dead. He was last not really seen or last known to be looking for an artifact that would be very harmful to people if it were to be released out in public. It's an artifact where, if opened, if the tomb is open, it basically will make a lot of people really, really sick and potentially die. So basically, I think his name is Richard Croft. I'm not 100% certain on that one. Um, but anyway, Laura Croft is missing her father. He's been missing for years, and like I said, he has been last known for looking for this tomb that he doesn't want people to open, but it's very valuable as far as an artifact is concerned. So Laura Croft eventually um, basically is in charge of not really in charge, but basically this company that her father was running is kind of always after her to sign these papers. And so basically, before she signs the papers that they really want her to sign to basically um, let someone else kind of take over the company and so forth, she basically gets a clue as to where her father might be. And obviously, that clue leads to another clue, which leads to another clue, which leads to another clue. And so eventually, Laura Croft does find out kind of the last place that's known that her father went for, protecting this artifact that he doesn't want anybody getting their hands on. So she goes on this adventure with a guy that presumably owns a ship that he loaned off to her father to go look for this artifact. And so she basically teams up with him. They go to this island and they try to look for her father. But while they're looking for her father, they find out that her father made enemies, and that these enemies aren't exactly having the same frame of mind of what this artifact is going to do for them if they find it. And so throughout the rest of the movie, we find out what exactly happened to her father. What does this mean for Lara Croft? Can Lara Croft find this artifact and protect it from the wrong people? What exactly do these wrong people want to do with this artifact? And we find out all of this over the course of this new Tomb Raider reboot. So overall, guys, I was pretty happy with this new Tomb Raider film. I wasn't completely in love with it. It's not going to be the film, unfortunately, that lifts the video game curse from movies, because I know a lot of movies over the years really haven't gotten the whole video game film adaptation correct quite yet. I'm still rooting for it. I'm really hoping there's going to be someday the Dark Knight of video game movies. Unfortunately, it was not with this Tomb Raider film, but I think this new Tomb Raider film is very good. I think it is better than the earlier Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies, and I think it is worth your time and money to check it out. So let's go over the positives and negatives of this new Tomb Raider movie. So overall, Alicia Vikander, if I'm even pronouncing her name correctly, does play an excellent Lara Croft. I like her much better in the role than Angelina Jolie. Not to say Angelina Jolie was bad. I just feel that this version of Lara Croft is more the way I personally have always seen her. She's beautiful. She's tough. She's strong. She can endure a lot. She's adventurous. She's very outdoorsy. Always outside doing something. Very much good physique, always exercising. So the way I would just say overall, the way Alicia Vikander portrayed her is very much the way I've always kind of seen Lara Croft in my head when I'm playing the video games or what she might be like in real life. So huge thumbs up to her. She really brought Lara Croft to the big screen in the right way. This film also has tons of tense action scenes. One scene I can safely talk about because it's in the trailer is the scene with Lara Croft on this rusty plane that's in between a waterfall, and she makes the wrong moves. She's going to go down with the plane down the waterfall and die. So she has to be very careful with how she handles the situation. Very tense action scene, and there's other action scenes in this film that are very tense, just like that scene is. So if you're impressed by that in the trailer, and if you're impressed by that by the extended version of that scene in the actual movie, I would say overall, at least for me anyway, I was very impressed with the action scenes. They're very tense, very well filmed. They're not very shaky camish, so that you can actually see what's going on in these scenes. So huge thumbs up to that again. Tense action scenes are very effective in this movie. This film also empowers women, at least to me it does. There's a lot of moments in this film where Lara Croft and any other female character, whether she's fighting them in like a boxing ring somewhere in the city or something like that, these are very strong female characters in this film, and there's not a ton of them per se, but I would say every female character overall in this film is very strong, specifically Lara Croft for sure. Definitely kind of like the movie Wonder Woman from last year. I felt like these women really can kind of stand on their own, can really stand up to the men, can really fight their own battles. There's even a scene where Alicia Vikander basically is going up against this guy that's really muscular, has a gun, has a knife, and she battles him the way that any other strong human being would do, whether man or woman. So just tons of women in power moments in this movie. Really works for me a lot. Alicia Vikander does a very good job empowering women in this movie and really making sure that the women in this movie and women in general really feel strong about themselves while watching this movie. And I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this guy's name correctly either, but Walton Goggins or Walter Goggins, the man from Hateful Eight, Predators, Sons of Anarchy. He's a part of a lot of things. He plays the villain in this movie, and I know a lot of people were complaining about him. I think his villain personally works. Very threatening, very scary. Definitely has his own agenda, and if you screw up or try to interfere with his agenda, he has no problem hurting or killing you. So I thought his villain was very effective. It's not the greatest villain I've ever seen in a movie, but I thought his villain overall was very effective, very scary, definitely a very threatening villain. So it really worked for me a lot. I also thought the adventure element of this film was very effective. I really do feel like Lara Croft really went on a adventure to, you know, retrieve slash protect this artifact that she's after the entire movie. I thought it was very effective, very fun. I never really felt bored in this movie, so that's another huge praise for this film, is I never really felt bored. So I think that does say a lot about the adventure element. It's very effective in this movie. I also think this is just overall a good video game movie. I feel like they grounded Lara Croft just the right way, but there's just enough fantasy elements in it so they can have like really unique artifacts that probably don't exist anywhere, but they work for this movie universe. If they make another Tomb Raider film in this universe using Alicia Vikander, I would be very happy with that. I would definitely go see another one in a heartbeat. This is just an overall good video game movie. It's not just making nods and references to the Tomb Raider games. It's not just making nods and references to video game and nerd culture. It really is a film that's trying to be a good film. It's trying to have a good story, good characters, take us on an adventure. Use CGI where they can, but do things practically when you can too. So I think just overall, it's a video game movie that really was in it for the right intentions, and that's a huge thumbs up for me. I really like that a lot. I also like Lara Croft's independence in this film. One thing that was kind of cool about this movie that I saw with a friend when I saw this movie with a friend over the weekend is Lara Croft is very independent in this movie. And, sure, Angelina Jolie's Lara Croft was independent too, but this Lara Croft isn't too concerned about having a boyfriend. She's not too concerned about where she's living until she finds the next artifact. She's not too concerned about her job. She's not too concerned about, the things that maybe most people would be really concerned about all the time. She really is about protecting what's right, protecting the artifacts from the wrong people, making sure if her father's still alive, what can she do to bring him back to the world that he remembers and so forth. It was just a very independent Lara Croft. So I liked how, there's hints of a boyfriend at one point, but they're not like straight up boyfriend, girlfriend. Like I said, this is a very independent Lara Croft that really is focused on what's going on at the moment and going on with her life. And I think that's really cool. I think it's a cool way to portray Lara Croft in a movie. For my negatives with Tomb Raider, though, why I don't think it's going to lift the video game curse, unfortunately, is unfortunately the artifact that these characters go after in this movie really isn't very interesting. You know, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider films had their problems too, but one thing I thought those films had that this film did not is at least the artifacts that Lara Croft was going after in those two movies were interesting artifacts, even if they're really hokey and very much in the fantasy realm. This artifact just really wasn't very interesting to me. Once you find out what it does, it's like, really, that's all that does? That's kind of sad and depressing. So without, I guess I can't say too much beyond that, but yeah, the artifact they go after, once you find out what it's really about, it's like, really, that's really all it does. I just wasn't very impressed with it. I thought they could have gone after something more interesting in this movie, so artifact wise, I wasn't too impressed. I also thought the musical score was kind of generic in this film. It just kind of didn't really feel like a Tomb Raider score to me. It felt like they could have done something more adventurous. I also thought there were some predictable plot points. There's just some plot points in this film that really didn't surprise me too much. I felt like they were just kind of things I was kind of expecting out of this movie, specifically where you find out about the dad and so forth. There was also some plot conveniences. There was just some conveniences in the plot that really just kind of were there to make things easy for the story and the characters. But overall, I'm going to give Tomb Raider an 8.5 out of 10. I highly recommend this film. It doesn't lift the video game curse, but I think it's a very good video game movie. 8.5 out of 10 for me.